Kristy tries to work on her autobiography when pretty much everyone in her house comes into her room and interrupts. No privacy whatsoever. Mom lies down on Kristy's bed and doesn't want to get up again, which is rude, but as a parent, I totally understand wanting to sleep in on Saturday mornings.
Argo Funk Book Review. Argo Funk Book Review.
This book was written by Jeanne Betancourt. Part 1. Mom went into labor at a Yankees game. Dad insisted on staying for most of the game before leaving for the hospital. Yes, Dad cares more about sports than the birth of his child. Sadly, that's how he'll treat Kristy for the rest of her life. Kristy was an active child, and her first steps were running to grab a ball. When she was 5, she, Marianne, and Claudia started a snow woman making business on their street. The neighbors paid them for it, mainly because they knew the money was going towards Mimi's birthday present. The girls bought Mimi a scarf that she wore for the rest of her life. Aww. Part 2. Young Kristy is upset because her older brothers always get to do more stuff than her. They stay up later, they can go places by themselves. They also refuse to hang out with her and her friends at school. One day, her brothers are invited to see Carman. It's a superhero movie about a used car salesman who fights crime with the ability to turn into any car he wants. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds awesome. I can totally see a scene where he sells himself by accident. Kristy takes $10 from home and pretends Mom said she could come with. The other kids don't complain because $10 is enough to buy her ticket and popcorn for everyone. I have to laugh. You can't buy a movie ticket, popcorn, soda, and candy for $10. You can't even buy a movie ticket for $10. Kristy's mom interrupts the movie right at the good part where Carman discovers he's stuck 4 inches tall. I told you it sounds like an awesome movie. Kristy gets in big trouble with Mom, while Dad thinks it's funny. Kristy cleverly tricks her brothers into revealing how the movie ends by inviting them to play Carman with her and her friends. Part 3. Shortly after David Michael is born, Dad leaves. The Thomases are worried when he doesn't come home that night. Mom eventually calls his work, only to learn Dad quit his job and moved out of state. Yeah, he told his work, but not his family. Patrick Thomas is the worst. Sorry if anybody watching this video is named Patrick Thomas. The children handle it badly, especially Sam and David Michael. After 6 months, Mom gets a full-time job. David Michael is put into daycare. Kristy and her older brothers are forced to watch and feed themselves. This ends up being a terrible idea. They invite their friends over every day, and they eat all the candy. Then they eat everything that even resembles candy. Granted, they're 6, 8, and 10, so that's probably to be expected. Mom doesn't have time to cook, so she has food delivered every night. They alternate between pizza and Chinese food. Again, I have to laugh at how $10 is enough to feed 5 people. Their dog is sprayed by a skunk. They try to wash him with tomato juice in the bathroom, but they make a mess and accidentally lock themselves inside. After this, Mom puts her foot down and comes up with a big list of daily chores. Everyone mopes at first, but they soon come to like it and adjust to their new life. Part 4. Kristy spends the summer at a girls' softball camp called Camp Top Notch. She gets in because she wrote an awesome scholarship essay.
I wrote about how it was hard for a girl to find a good game in our town, because the guys were sort of dumb about letting girls play with them.
The camp is divided into the Blue Jay cabin and the Robin cabin. There's a big prank war between the cabins. They do things like put sugar in salt shakers and tie shoelaces together. The Blue Jays put noodles in the other cabin's beds, and they get in trouble for it. The Robins tie the other cabin's swimsuits into a knot, and they don't get in trouble for it. In fact, the other cabin is punished for being late to swimming. I don't quite understand why they accepted an unfair punishment instead of telling the adults the truth. Kristy and a girl named Samantha both try out for shortstop. Samantha intimidates Kristy by calling her Shorty. She purposely gets in Kristy's way, forcing Kristy to make an error. Kristy's so angry, she messes up in tryouts and loses. The camp softball team is really terrible because all the players are too busy fighting each other. Coach Martin gets so upset she quits the team. The girls realize sports is no fun anymore, so they agree to end the feud and enjoy the rest of the summer. Kristy and Samantha become best friends, and they never see each other again. Too bad she doesn't appear in Kristy at Bat. Part 5. Sometime between books 9 and 12, Kristy's dad returns. He just broke up with his California wife, and he's planning to move back to Stony Brook. He asks Kristy to keep it a secret until he gets settled. You might recognize this as the main storyline of the Babysitter's Club movie. Marianne warns Kristy Patrick is irresponsible. Kristy knows Marianne is right, but he's so much fun to hang out with. She feels bad about having to lie to people, and she doesn't like it when her dad jokes Mom's controlling. You shouldn't complain about Mom, Patrick. At least she never abandoned her 4 kids. Kristy starts to neglect her normal responsibilities because she's spending all her free time with Dad. Watson catches Kristy sneaking out and lying. He trusts her, so he agrees not to tell Mom. Kristy's stepdad is much better than her biological dad. Kristy notices Patrick has a bad habit of interrupting her and changing every conversation so it's about him. Things fall apart when Dad gives her a fancy baseball glove. He says that it's a present for all the birthdays he missed. The problem is that she's left-handed. He doesn't know that? When she tries to get the glove exchanged, the man at the store finds an inscription which shows Dad never bought the glove. He got it for free as part of his work. He lied to Kristy when he said it was from him. 2 days later, Patrick leaves town without saying goodbye. Again. He's a terrible father. Kristy tells her parents, and there's a happy ending where Watson gives Kristy the correct baseball glove because he knows her and he loves her. After writing her autobiography, Kristy shares her memories with her various friends and family members, and even her baseball team. She gets a B+, which is unfair. She deserves an A. I don't know why the teachers marked her down. The end. Post-book follow-up. This book was really good, definitely my favorite of the series so far. I even liked the first and last chapters, which are filler, but still interesting. I've definitely seen recap chapters from this series that are way more boring than Kristy's family is on parade. I like how this book focused on Kristy's family, and not so much on her friends, Marianne and Claudia. We saw enough of the trio as young kids in Marianne's and Claudia's books. But we haven't seen much of Kristy with her older brothers, even after 100 books in the main series. So the Carman stuff was cool. Seeing Kristy's family deal with the aftermath of Dad leaving was good. It reminded me of the aftermath of Dawn's parents getting divorced. Except this book stayed in the moment instead of transitioning to the events of book 4. The summer camp was probably the weakest story, but I liked how it had 2 to 3 different storylines going on at the same time. Subplots are not common in the portrait collections. This feels like a 4 or a 5 chapter story, which was condensed into 3 chapters. Same with the last story about Patrick. It could easily be doubled in length, maybe even expanded to its own book. There's so much going on. There are multiple places where conversations are compacted, or details are skipped over, like Kristy neglecting her chores or Marianne finding out about Patrick. Those things get half a page at most, when they'd probably be a full chapter in a full book. You could also expand the story by having Kristy's brothers there instead of shipping them off to summer camp. Overall, I like this book. I wouldn't really change any of the storylines except to make them longer, because they're so good I wanted to hear more. I'd probably give this book a 9 out of 10 normally, but since I'm rating each storyline separately in these portrait collection reviews, the score is getting increased. I give Babysitter's Club Portrait Collection, Kristy's book, a 10 out of 10.